Hello, good evening. You're welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, Annie Sings. Welcome, Lily. Good evening. You are welcome. You are welcome. Welcome everyone. Welcome everybody. Welcome, King Steve. Welcome. I see you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining today or tonight. Okay, so good evening, ma'am. Good evening. Welcome and thank you for joining. Welcome. Thank you for joining me here tonight. I trust you had a good day. So please tell us where you are joining us from. Okay, so I just saw somebody that made me laugh. Shout out to Creative Liar. Welcome, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you, Ma'am Eniola. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma'am Amaka. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This is going to be a very quick one because it's been a long day. I just want to share something quickly that I really need to speak to because from working with children. Lately this has been reoccurring. It's been going on, and from my sessions I see that this is one area, like when I interact with these children, I see that this is one area that we need to be very mindful of as parents, and that's why I decided to speak to this topic today: how to meet the emotional needs of your child, even if you're on a tight schedule. Because I know that, we live in a fast-paced world right now, and there are so many things we need to catch up with. There are so many things we need to do, but at the same time, our children are our priority, and it's not our children. It's not like they are a career or a business venture. They are humans. And humans make up the society. The family is the bedrock of the society. So if we do not give as much priority as we need to our children, then we are going to keep turning out people who are not well-rounded. We are going to be turning out both children and adults who are not well-rounded. All right. So that's why I decided to speak to this topic tonight. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us where you're joining from. It's going to be a very short session. Please tell us where you're joining from. I'm speaking from Lagos, Nigeria. And if you do not know me, my name is Sandra Oluwadare. I'm a parenting coach and the child behavior consultant, the founder of Winning in Parenting. And for those who know me, thank you for coming back. Yes. So I'll just go straight in. Just tell us where you're joining us from. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out to be here. So I'm talking about, from Enugu. Thank you so much. Yeah, please let us know where you're joining us from. Let's know. And please, if you have questions from the UK, oh beautiful, thank you. From Republic of Ireland, amazing, thank you for joining. Welcome Felly Food, please tell us where you're joining us from. So while we're at that, I'll just go right in. Talking about the emotional needs of a child, I mean, we need to raise children who are well-rounded. We need to raise children who are well-balanced. From Adamawa State, amazing, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. From Kano, oh beautiful, thank you for taking time out to be here with me tonight. Yes, thank you. So talking about the emotional needs of a child, they are so important. They look or they appear very subtle, like if you are not consciously looking out for these things, you realize that you just end up pushing them to the backside of your relationship with your child. Welcome, Debbie. You realize that you are shelving the things that are supposed to be really important. And so we need to have the big picture before us. What kind of child do you want to raise? Do you want to raise a half-baked child who will turn out to be a half-baked adult that will go into the society to begin to cause problems? Or do you want to intentionally raise a wholesome and a well-balanced child who you are sure that to a very large extent will contribute his own quota to make the world a better place? I believe every parent will go for the second option. We all want to raise children who are well-rounded. We all want to raise children who will add value to their world, to their generation, who would shine their light and impact their world. But this does not just come by mere wishes. And most times we point at the children. I mean, when a child grows up and begins to, cause problems and all of that in the society or wherever the child is interacting, we look at the child, forgetting that the child did not fall down from the sky like that. That child was not given to you by God like that. We forget that the child has been programmed to become who he is. So it becomes very important that we look inwards to realize that we have a great role to play. Welcome Chegsy, welcome Avril Event. We have a great role to play as we raise our children. And most times we are fixated on the physical needs of the child. Oh, I provide this, I provide that. Their home is very safe, it's very comfortable, they are in very good schools, and I think I've just settled them, they are just fine. But we fail to realize that children need much more than that. Children, according to their hierarchy of needs, it's not just about the present. It's not just about what you can provide for them, material things. It also goes beyond that and begins to speak to things like safety, security, routines, discipline, consistency. These are some of the emotional needs your child requires from you. It's not just about saying, oh, I'll give you everything you want once you cry for this or that. Oh, because I have it, because I can provide it, I can just make it available. One of the emotional needs of a child is for you to provide discipline, for you to provide consistency. So they are looking to us for different things. And if we are not aware of these things, if we are not aware of the importance of these things, how then can we meet these needs? How then can we bridge the gap? And, in the past few months that I've had to counsel with a lot of children, I've realized that this has been the major, gap that needs to be bridged. Parents not being able to fill that emotional gap that has been created in the parent-child relationship. And so I'll be going into that briefly to highlight some of the areas that we need to pay attention to, because meeting the emotional needs of your child is very important. No matter how much or how well you meet their physical needs, you cannot afford to neglect their emotional needs. I mean, as a person, how do you feel when you are neglected emotionally? How do you feel when it looks like no one is validating your efforts. No one is validating your emotions. Even at work, you put in so much effort, but it looks like nobody's even seeing you. You don't feel seen. You don't feel heard. You don't feel appreciated and all of that. It's very easy for us to feel uncomfortable in this position, but we don't know that this is the same position we unknowingly push our children to as we relate to them on a daily basis. So I'm highlighting this point so we can also look inwards and see the areas where we need to top up their emotional tank. Because one of the reasons why children actually manifest behaviors that you cannot even understand is because their emotional tanks are dry. Nobody is feeling their emotional tanks. You are feeling their physical tanks. You are doing every other thing, but they are very dry on emotions. They are very dry on those needs. Those needs are hardly met. And so you are there as a parent. You're saying, after all I've done for you, I give you everything. I'm always there for you with my presence, in quotes. But the child is crying inside. The child says, I don't even want your presence. Or even if I want your presence, I want you as well. Love for a child is spelled time. Love for a child is spelled time. You really love your child, you should be spending time with the child. And as the topic that I'm speaking to says, I'm also going to be referring to people who are very low on time, people who are on a very tight schedule. So even if you have 24 hours at your disposal, or you are the very busy kind of parent, there is still something you can do to fill up the emotional tank of your children. Now, the first thing, welcome everybody, welcome, thank you for joining me tonight. Now, the first thing you need to do, whether you have time or not, whether you are on a tight schedule or not, is to let your child understand that he is loved unconditionally. We have so much conditioned the love we have for our children. We attach the love, the quality or the amount of love we show them to things. We go all out to say, oh, so amazing because you passed your exam. Oh, I love this boy because you did this and that. It's good to, applaud your children when they do certain things, but after you have done that, still call their attention to the fact that you just do not love them because they just passed their exams. You just do not love them because they have been of good behavior lately or forever. But let them know that you love them regardless. Let them know that no matter what happens, you love them and you are going to keep loving them. Let them understand that they can always come back to you. Let them understand that they have a safe space in you. This is one of the first ways you can fill up the emotional tank of your child. This is one of the ways to meet the emotional needs of a child, because some children have every other thing they want, but they are just not sure of your love for them, or they just know you love them because you have attached that love to a particular thing that they do so well, or a particular way they comport themselves in. We need to get to the position where our children can beat their chest and confidently say, my parents love me regardless of what happens. Because in their low moments, in the times when you are not there, when you are not there to reassure them, it is what you have deposited in that tank, what you have deposited in their emotional tank, that will speak. Those are the things that will begin to try to pull them up when they are down, when they are feeling like they are not worth it, when they think they are not enough. It is the deposit you have left in that tank that will begin to reinforce that feeling in them. So it's important that we keep making deposits into their emotional account, their emotional bank account. It is very important. If you are not telling a child every day that I love you, what do you want the child to live on? It's just like you're not fueling your tank on a daily basis. How do you want the car to get on the road? The car is just going to get stuck somewhere. And so it's important that we let our children know over and over again, because some parents are actually doing the most for their children, but their children do not even know. I put up a post yesterday where I said, your child cannot know what is in your heart if you don't tell them. You can't keep saying, I love my child, and you are saying it in your heart. You are hoarding the love. You are hoarding, you are not expressing it. You are just saying, he knows I love him, she knows I love him. They can't read your heart. You need to tell them. They need to know, so that even when you are not there, they have something to fall back on, because this is one of the fundamental needs of every child. Unconditional love from the parents, whether you are busy or not, whether you are on a tight schedule or not. This is so important. And then the next thing that I want to speak to as regards meeting the emotional needs of our children is respect. We need to consider the golden rule here. Treat others the same way you want to be treated. How do you want to be treated? How would you love to be treated? That's the picture we should have in mind when we are interacting with our children. You cannot just be speaking to your child the way you like. You can't just be speaking down at your child just because he is your child and just because he's 7 years old. After all, I'm the parent, I'm the boss, and all of that. It is not acceptable, because whatever you say to the child, however you respond or react, becomes the template with which the child sees himself. If you are fond of talking down at the child, if you are fond of making the child feel like a piece of trash, just because you want to make the child understand that you are the parent, that is how the child is going to begin to perceive himself. That is going to become the child's brand. That is how, in fact, when the child goes outside, if you even begin to show the child, if somebody else begins to show the child a lot of love, the child is going to begin to second guess himself. He will pinch himself. Am I dreaming? Is it the same me that this person is respecting? Because this kind of love or affection is new to me. They begin to second guess themselves because you have programmed them to thrive in an environment where anybody can just talk to anybody anyhow. Because they are answering your name, you just refer to them anyhow. You can barge in on them. No form of respect whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that we should put our children on a high platform where we are not able to talk to them, to address them or correct them. But what I'm saying is that we accord them some level of respect, because they are humans as well, and they are self-aware. They are aware that they are a fully blown human, right? And so it becomes important, and we also need to consider that they are still growing up. Their brains are still developing. So how you interact with them will determine to a large extent how their brain will form. Yes, if, for example, a child that is exposed to continuous yelling and to a very toxic environment, the way the brain of that child is going to develop is going to be different from a child that is exposed to love and warmth. So how we interact with our children is so important. We need to show them some form of respect, and we need to understand that as we show them respect, we are standing as a role model. We are teaching them how best to relate with themselves and with others as well. Because I mean, what are we teaching them? What are you teaching them if everything you are trying to teach them is the opposite of what you are doing? I mean, there is no basis for comparison. There is no balance anywhere. So we need to understand that we need to treat our children the way we want to be treated. I mean, how would you feel if you are ignored, your efforts are ignored at work? I mean, you love somebody so much, you're in a relationship, you're giving so much, and you are not seen, you are not heard, nobody is validating you in any way. How would you feel? And that's the same position that we put our children in over and over again, and then we expect them to understand. Why Why? So we need to, one of the ways you can fill the emotional tank of your children is to serve them with respect. We are leaders. Every parent is supposed to be a leader. You are leading a set of people. Your family is your nation. You are leading your nation. And one of the characteristics of leadership is servanthood. We need to be able to serve. So I'm here serving you, for example. As a parent, you are not just leading your children by standing before them, you are also serving them. You are guiding them to fulfill purpose. You are correcting them, disciplining them. You are providing service. You are serving them. So we need to begin to serve them with respect. Like I said earlier, I'm not saying you should exalt them to the point where you're not able to speak to them, where you're not able to correct them. But we need to also accord them respect because they are humans. And the way we relate with them is how they're going to learn to relate with others as well. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is acceptance. Parents, we need to parent the child we have. Parent the child you have. Stop looking at your neighbor's child, or stop looking at your friend's child. Parent the child you have. A lot of parents today have left their own pasture and they are longing to have someone else's pasture. That pasture you are longing to have, somebody else cultivated it. Somebody else nurtured it. So it's time to go back and look at the child you have. It's time to go back and observe. You need to do a course 101 on the child you have. Instead of looking at how it's not like this person's child, he doesn't speak as posh as this other person's child, he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. It's time to look away from all of those things and focus on how you can parent your own child and bring them up to that place where you really want them to be. Okay, can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. I think my internet went off for a bit. Can you hear me? Okay, please just let me know in the chat. All right, so we need to stop looking at other people's children. Focus on your own, all right? Because children, they perceive your actions. They might not tell you anything. They might not act like, okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. They might not act like they know what you are doing, right? But they actually know. They know when you are comparing them to other children. They know when you are having regrets about who they are. Why is this child not good in gymnastics? Why is this child not even good in mathematics? Why can this child not just obey simple instruction like this other child? All right, they understand these things. Even if you don't tell them to their face, they know that you are second guessing them. They know that you do not accept them for who they are. And these things begin to affect them. It begins to push them into a downward spiral. So it's important that we accept our children for who they are. Accept them for who they are. I mean, look at you, look at me. If we were not accepted for who we are, how would we feel? If somebody at the office or somebody or your customer or even your spouse keeps comparing you to someone else, if your spouse keeps telling you how this other person is better, or how your boss keeps making regretful comments about how you're not capable enough and all of that, how would you feel? That's the same position we put our children in when we keep looking at another person's child instead of focusing on the child and the peculiarity of the child that we have. So it's important that we accept our children for who they are. I can't see any activity. Please just let me know again if you can hear me. Just let me know again if you can hear me. Thank you. Now, the fourth thing you want to do if you want to meet the emotional needs of your child, even if you are busy, is to give them a safe space. Now, all right, thank you, ma'am. Talking about giving them a safe space, I'm not talking about giving them just a safe home, like a safe environment and all of that. But I'm also talking about giving them a safe space in your heart. Giving them a safe space in your heart. Making them understand that, you know what, whatever happens, you are safe with me. Whatever happens, you can always count on me. You can be free enough to share your thoughts with me. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to label you. I'm not going to shame you. All right. So even if you're on a tight schedule, whenever you get the time, this is a reassurance you need to keep giving your child. You need to keep letting the child know that I'm going to be here for you always, no matter what happens. This gives a huge boost to the emotional bank account of your child. All right, this is something we really need to focus on, because at those times when the child is feeling very, downcast, the child is feeling bad, the child is, trying to ask, if I'm really worth it, am I really loved, and all of that, and you are not there to speak to the child at that moment. The child is going to remember that, oh, mommy has always said she's my safe space. She has always said that I have a safe space in her. She has always said that I can always count on her, and all of that. That is something that we need to take note of. We need to begin to make those deposits from now. Let your children know that you are giving them a safe space. Let them know that they are free to always come to you to share their thoughts. But if they come to you and the first thing you say is, hey, Mogbe, or the first thing you say is, hey, this child wants to kill me and all of that, trust me, they are not going to come back to you. And if they are sharing their thoughts and before they even land, you have interrupted them, you have said, hey, I told you that if you keep on going in this direction, this is what will happen. Can you see now? There's no need for all of that. Let the child know that I can actually come and my mother or my father would listen to me, like actively. They would watch and look out for my body cues. They can even hear what I'm not saying. You need to build your child to that level. Trust me, times will come when they need validation, when they need that validation, and you might not be there. And it is from what you have deposited that they will begin to make withdrawals. So it is important that you create time. It is important that even in that, busy schedule of yours, and that's why I'm highlighting these key areas that we need to focus on since you are busy. All right, you need to make this deposit so that when it is time for a withdrawal, there is something these children can fall back on. Now, the next thing you want to do to meet the emotional needs of your child, even if you are on a tight schedule, is to, spend time with them. Try to create time. Yeah, I know you might be busy. You go to work, drive in traffic, you get back, you're tired. But please, remember I said something. These children just have a couple of years to be under your direct tutelage before they begin to do things themselves. And this is the time to make deposits. This is the time to build. So no matter how busy you are, just find time to connect with them one-on-one. If face-to-face interaction is not possible, just make sure that you make up for it in one way or the other. For example, if you have to leave the house before they wake up in the morning, you can leave them notes. You can leave them encouraging notes, love notes. Just put it where they're going to have access to it. You can put it in the bathroom. You can put it in their school bag, in their lunch bag. You can stick it to the fridge. Put it on the stick it to the TV console. Just find a way to connect with your child on a daily basis. Except, you don't have contact with the child. Maybe the child is in boarding school or something. But aside that, find a way to interact with your child every day. If it's not face-to-face interaction, please try to connect with notes, with reassuring words. When you know they are back from school, you can call somebody at home ask to speak with them. Just reassure them of your love. Just because we adults, we want to hear these things. Our children want to hear these things too. This is so important. Tell your children you love them. There's no point hiding it. There's no point. We are not in a competition with our children. Why are we holding being affectionate from them? Why do we feel too much? No, let me not even say too much love. You cannot overlove your child. And showing your child so much love will not spoil your child. So you don't need to cut corners. Go all out. Go big on loving your child. Do what you have to do. I'm not saying indulge them. I'm not saying overindulge them, but do what you have to do to show them that you love them. I'm not saying turn them into entitled children by giving them everything they want when they want it, but don't withhold your affection from your child. If you are there with them, touch them, hug them, rub their hair, pull their cheeks, pat their back. Do something physical. Let them know that they are actually able to enjoy your presence. Not that you are in the home with them and this one is in his own world, the other person is in her own world and all of that. No. Do not withhold your affection from your child. We are not competing with them. These are the things they need to grow up as well-balanced and well-rounded children. All right, so tell them you love them every day. Tell them. If you are not telling them you love them every day, trust me, somebody will begin to help you tell them. Because at some point in your life or in your home, in your children's lives, somebody must be speaking. Someone must be speaking. And if you are not speaking, trust me, another person will speak. Another person will speak. Tell your children. Tell them on a daily basis how much you love them, how much of a blessing they are to you. Because somebody else out there is going to be telling them, and how much of that person's integrity can you really trust? So don't withhold these things from your children. Remember, I said you are making deposits into their emotional bank account. You are filling their emotional tank. Tomorrow when you can't speak to them, maybe you are on a trip or something, you are not there to hold them, to hug them, they will begin to make withdrawals from that account. They will begin to remember all the things that you've told them, and they will say, no, I can't do this. No. I am sure of my Father's love for me. I am sure. I can beat my chest about the love my mother has for me. So I can't do this. I won't do this. But when they don't even know, you love them in your heart, but you are keeping it. I don't know what you are keeping it for. You are keeping it. Maybe you feel that you are going to spoil them if you dote over them, you dote on them, you let them know that, oh, they are your world and all of that. No, you are only boosting their emotional strength. And this will really help them to grow up into well-rounded adults. The next thing you want to do, even if you're on a tight schedule, as a parent who wants to meet the emotional needs of your child, is to keep your promises. Please, parents, let us begin to mean what we say. Please don't say it if you don't mean it. Don't say it if you don't mean it. You are breaking the trust that your child has in you every time you break your promises. Every time you break your promises, you are breaking the trust that your child has put in you. They didn't force you to make that promise. If they want something from you and it is beyond your power, let them know what's at stake. Let them know how far you can go. Let them know what you can do. Let them know the best you can do. All right, but don't be tempted to make promises you cannot fulfill, because one of the things that form the bedrock of a beautiful parent-child relationship is trust. And what happens, what do you think will happen when you keep breaking the trust your child has in you over and over again? Not because you have bad intentions, but you're just like, oh, let me just please this child and say, okay, you know what, I'll buy this thing for you tomorrow. No, if you're not going to buy it, then don't make that promise. All right, look for other ways to have your child hold you to your words, but don't begin to make promises you cannot keep. They won't trust you. They will not trust you. When it is time to come to you to give you a gist that they need you to trust them, they will remember how you break promises. They will remember how you don't always mean what you say. And they will say, let me not even tell her anything. I tell her now, she'll use that same style for me and all of that. Do you understand? So let's not go that route of breaking promises over and over again. Just keep your promises or don't make promises at all. Remember, this doesn't affect whether you are a busy parent or not. Whether you are busy or not, do not make promises that you cannot keep. And if it happens that you could actually keep that promise, but something just came up, because you don't break promises all the time, they would understand when you explain the reasons why you couldn't meet up to them. Now, the next thing I need to speak to as regards meeting the emotional needs of your child, even if you are a busy parent, is to laugh. We underrate laughter a lot. Laughter is therapy. Hey, laughter will do things that you cannot even imagine in your family. Just schedule a time, or you might not even need to schedule it. Just laugh, like laugh out loud. You'll be shocked. Laugh out loud. It is therapy. Dance, play. We are just so stiff these days. We are so lost in our parenting journey that we forget. Sometimes we do not even own our essence anymore. Sometimes we forget who we are. We forget that we are humans ourselves. Before we became parents, we are humans, all right? And we cannot lose touch of that person we were before we became parents. We cannot afford to lose touch with our inner core because we have become parents. If not, we are going to get to a point where we begin to blame our children for putting us in that condition or position that we think we have found ourselves in. So we need to bring back laughter into into the time we spend with our children. Get silly. This is a game changer. Get silly. Even for parents who have younger children, your child is throwing a tantrum, get silly. Make funny sounds, and before you know it, the child is laughing. Dance silly, like do stuff. Have some music playing, dance. Just understand that your children will never forget those memories. They won't forget. Make laughter a daily drill in your home. What you are doing is that you are giving your children a major tool that they can work with to become a coping skill that will help them navigate through life. Laughter is actually a coping skill. Yes. Laughter, if it is something that you were brought up with, if you are used to it, you will realize that you find yourself in some situations and you're just like, I'll just laugh it off. And that would regulate your emotions before you now get to the point where you start thinking, okay, so what do I do to get out of this situation? So laugh, at least that one, even if you get back home very late, or even if you don't get to see your children before they go to bed, all right, there is a time where you can actually interact with the children. Even if it is on phone, bring laughter in. Bring those silly jokes in. Play. Come down from your pedestal as a parent and enter your child's world and play silly. Play very silly. You realize that you are filling the emotional bank account of your child, and they will have good withdrawals to make when they need it. When you're not there, when they feel down, and at other times. Now, the next thing, I'll bring this to a close now. The next thing you also want to do is to manage your emotions. How do you want to fill the emotional tank of your child when you are not able to manage your emotions? We need to be good managers of our emotions. We need to understand our triggers. What are the things that trigger you? You can't say you don't know what triggers you. You know what somebody will say that will spark you up. You know what somebody will say. People can do every other thing, but when they do this one thing, you lose it. You can't take it. All right. So those are the triggers. Get to the point where you sit into yourself, have a conversation with yourself, identify your triggers, so that you are able to manage these emotions that come up when you get triggered, or any other emotion at all. Just understand that you are your child's role model and they are watching you. If when somebody speaks to you in a way you don't like, the next thing you do is to just explode and, flare up and begin to say all sorts of things, what are you depositing into your child's emotional tank? What exactly? Is he yelling? Is he speaking abusively? Right? So understand that whatever vibe you give out is going into that tank. You're able to manage your emotions. That's what that's what the child is picking and putting in that tank. You're not able to control your outbursts. That's the exact thing you're teaching your child. That's the exact thing you're depositing into that emotional account. And the day the child needs to make withdrawals, you'll be surprised at the way the child is going to explode as well. So let's get to the point where we are able to put our emotions in check, not suppress your emotions. I'm not saying suppress your emotions. Emotions need to be felt. You need to feel your emotions, talk about your emotions, and every emotion is valid, right? It is how we express those emotions that we need to be very careful of. For example, anger. Anger is an emotion. You can't say don't get angry. You can get angry, but how do you express this anger? Is it in a socially fit way, or do you scatter the ground because you are angry? So it's not the anger itself that is a problem, right? But how you express the anger, how you are able to diffuse that anger. This is so important. And then I'll share the last one before I wrap it up. I've shared it before, but I'm just going to reinforce it, one more time. Don't withhold your love for your child. Let them know. Let them, because people are also going to say I love you to them outside, right? And I love this thing about the law of first mention. The law of first mention. Try to be the first informant of your child. Don't wait for somebody else to tell your child how much he is loved when he has not even heard it from you. Don't wait for somebody else to be affectionate towards your child when you deprived your child of affection in the home. Don't wait for somebody else outside to teach your child the things that are supposed to build him as a person before you do the job. And that's why equipping ourselves as parents is so important. Don't wait for somebody else to be the first informant of your child. Tell your child how much you love the child. Find common interests over which you can bond with your child. Find areas, common grounds where you can sit and have conversations. So even if you are busy, okay, so I'm busy, but I know that my child loves to play chess. So I need to find time, I need to create time to at least play a game of chess with my child, maybe twice a week or once a week. I know that my child loves to probably play Jenga or something, right? I need to, it's an interest, it is something she's interested in. Even if I work all day, I need to create a day in a week. I need to create time in a month, right, to play that game with my child. Even if I don't know anything about chess, I need to go learn how to play chess, because if you don't have common grounds over which you are bonding with your child, then what do you want to talk about? Your child loves this, you don't know it. Your child loves football, you don't even know one football team. You don't even know who a midfielder is. You don't even know who a goalkeeper is or whatever. You need to go the extra mile to also learn, those things that catch the interest of your child, so that you will have things to talk about. I mean, if you're not bonding over anything, when you both sit down, what are you going to be talking about? Those are the things that will fortify the bond that you share with your child. So don't withhold your love for your child. Don't hold back your affection from your child. Hug your child as much as you can. It is reassuring, especially if that is your child's love language. If your child's love language is physical touch, that is the only way your child will know that you love him. If your child's love language is physical touch and you go about buying gifts up and down, you are not hitting the right notes. Until you begin to hug the child and get affectionate with the child will not believe that you love him enough, because you are not speaking that language. So find out the things that interest your child and go the extra mile to get your child on those platforms. Go the extra mile to learn one or two things. If your child loves to read, you carry a book as well. You can even read the same book and review the book together. All right, but you can't sit in the position where you are and say, oh, I don't have time. All of the points that I've shared are points that you can actually inculcate, or entrench into your own schedule, no matter how busy you get. And then let me throw in this one before I wrap it up. Take pictures. I talked about laughing and playing and dancing and all of that. Take pictures, create memories. When you get the time, before you go, it's going to be a long day at work, take a selfie, document all of those things. Those are the things that you're going to go back to. Those are the things that your child will look at, and those memories will just be so empowering to the child. But you are not there, you don't have time, because you don't have a lump sum of time, because you don't have 2 hours to spend. You're not like, the time is not even enough. Should I even bother? No need. Maybe next week I'll find time to bond with this child. Okay, maybe next month and all of that. No, you don't need to wait till next month. That 20 minutes you have, now you get back from work, the child is asleep. I know you are tired, but we're talking of a whole human who is being developed, who is under your care, who does not develop only by the food that you provide or the school fees that you pay. Go and lay in bed with the child. Go and lie down there with the child. Even if the child does not wake up. We're talking about emotional transference. The child is doing something to the child. You are lying there by the child. Even if the child is asleep, you are bonding with the child. So don't say, oh, I came back late and all of that. If it is 10 minutes you have, take a selfie, laugh, just do something. Talk to your child. We are not competing with them. Let's not be forming that, I don't want to talk. Come down from your world and enter into that place where you are needed, so that you can solidify your place in their lives. Because a time is coming when your voice might not be the loudest in their head. If you have not made enough deposits when they were young, trust me, don't call them out that my child does not have a relationship with me, my child does not share things with me, he prefers to talk with his friends. Yes, because when the child was much younger, you felt you were too busy. So don't wait for those lump sums. If it is 10 minutes you have, use it. If it is 15 minutes you have, use it. If you can afford to hang out, on a day, have a family hangout with your children and all of that, by all means do, and make it count. Make it remarkable. And trust me, on days where your child is feeling down, on days where your child is so down there emotionally, the child is just second guessing himself. Am I really enough? My teacher just spoke to me in a way that I don't like. I just got bullied by my classmates and all of that. Am I really worth it? Am I really smart? Do I make sense to myself? On days like that, when they are second guessing themselves, they will remember the deposits you have made in their emotional tank, and they will make good withdrawals. They would be able to build themselves up to the point where they are able to jump out of that situation where they have found themselves at that particular moment. So that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Once again, I would reiterate that A child does not just need food and drink, good schools or after school teachers or extracurricular activities to grow up into a well-balanced child. A child needs his emotional tank filled. The child needs the giver, not just the gifts. The child needs you, not just your gifts. It is presence over presence. If you are so busy, then make the short time you can spend with them count. Don't make that short time to now be like a judgment day. Okay, you bring your books. Let me see what you have been doing since the past for the past 2 months. Is this what you have been doing? Auntie so and so said you've been very rude and all of that. No. That time or that day is not judgment day. You that you don't have time to spend with them, the only time you spend with them, you now want to, that's the day you call them out, that's the day you give them all the punishment and all of that. No. It will not help your parent-child relationship in any way. As much as you can, you know you're on a tight schedule, just ensure that anytime you get to spend with these children, make it count. And once you make that time count, once the children are already in a good mood, you can easily correct them. You can discipline them. You can call them out. You can tell them, I noticed that your grades are da. Do you understand? But you cannot just come somebody who has not been there. You've not been giving them time, and you are coming to call them to order. You are coming to scold them, to tell them everything they've done wrong. No, that is not going to help the child in any way. Let us keep the golden rule before us at all times. Treat them the way you would love to be treated as well. And stop looking at the green pasture somewhere else. Parent the child you have. Look at your own child and nurture your child. See how you can work on and with your child to get them to that level where they are supposed to be. I hope you found value. I hope you got value in this session. If you have a question, please let me have the questions in the comments. If you got value, let me know. Let me see your emojis. Let me see your reactions if you got value from this session. And I'll be happy to take your questions if you have any. All right. And I would also like to invite you to register your children for Equipped to Thrive. Now, Equipped to Thrive is a program. Thank you so much, ma'am. Equipped to Thrive is a program where we collaborate with you, the parents, to empower your children with skills, knowledge, resources, tools that they need to become wholesome and well balanced. Now, like we all know, we can see that the world is evolving, times are changing, technology is evolving on a daily basis. Our children need to be able to navigate through life. Our children, we can see so many things that are being pushed out today. We can see so many things that are targeted at children. Our children need to be well equipped, right? It's not just about the academics only. We need to also equip them to be able to manage themselves, to be able to navigate through life, through circumstances. We are not raising bread and butter children who, at the first sign of challenges, they will run back and say, mommy. They will not be tied to your apron strings forever. At some point, you need to release them to fly. All right. So we are collaborating with you. We're supporting you to empower these children with skills that they need to, go through life successfully. We need to be sure that they are prepared to go out there and, face their world. We're talking about leadership skills, life skills. We're talking about spiritual skills. We're also focusing on their spirituality, ensuring that they are rooted and grounded. All right. And then we're also talking about body safety. We're talking about sex education and all of that. We're talking about values, morals, because we know that parents are busy. Even though the home is the first should be the first source of information for the child. But it has happened in a way that most parents might not be fully available to provide these lessons for their children, and that's where we are bridging the gap. So you can send them to us. Just go to my link in bio. Click my link in bio. You would get to the website where you can read about the program. All right, you can also send me a DM. Okay, so let me just put the website here. It's www.rockacademy.com. Yeah, that's it. So you want to go there and you would find the program Equipped to Thrive. It's an amazing program. We have had children join this program from over 12 countries in the past, and we want your children to be part of this. Remember, we need to equip our children for the road ahead. We are not just preparing, it's not about preparing the road for them. How much of the road can you prepare? Before you finish preparing phase 1, phase 2 has evolved. So we want to prepare our children for life. We want to prepare them for the road and for the task ahead. All right. And then there's also another program, the Fab Parents Club, where we provide the framework. We teach you the framework as a parent that you need to raise wholesome and well-balanced children. All right. So many things are going on right now. There are some specific things that need to be in place for you to raise that child who can thrive in today's world. And that's what we do in the Fab Parents Club. That information is also in my link in bio, or you can send a DM as well. Reach out to us and we'll be happy to support you as you go on your parenting journey. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, I want you to share this video so that other parents, other people, can access this discussion that we just had as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Mrs. Eniola. I don't know how many more people are here. Thank you so much. And I'll see you again next week. I'll see you again next Thursday. Yeah, I'll see you again next Thursday. So have a lovely weekend. Yeah, the weekend is here already. Have a lovely weekend. And I'll see you next Thursday. If you're here, you're not following me on social media, it's at Winning in Parenting on Instagram, on Facebook, Winning in Parenting, and on YouTube as well. It's Winning in Parenting. Please follow me for more insightful content on parenting. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.